Hey, so I hope that you're going to be able to follow me on this video because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm feeling a little wobbly, a little off, and it might be a bit of a ramble, but stay with me because as I was preparing to make this and connect with you guys and connecting with my divine guidance team on what I needed to share with you, they gave me so much, so I'll have to just kind of slow things down as I go through them. So I want to talk about yesterday's energy because we haven't had that kind of energy for a really, really long time. The Schumann was pretty quiet. There's no solar flares, geostorms, so no active weather. So really it should have been kind of like a restful, quiet day, but it was not. And I've heard several other people talk about this, but so for me, it actually kind of started, I guess 2 days ago. So 2 days ago, my oldest son just had, he called and he was like, Mom, I just had this like really weird thing happen. I just had like this wave come through my head. And he was like, it was weird. It just happened out of nowhere. And it was like a wave that came out of my head. And then I kind of felt dizzy and I kind of felt a little bit off. And you know, and I knew exactly what he was describing because I've had these waves a million times myself. So I understand them. So of course, you know, it kind of shook him a little bit, but then he's, you know, he didn't stick on it. And so he was fine. It happened, it passed, it cleared. He went about his, you know, the rest of it, didn't stick on it, wasn't worried about it, wasn't concerned about it. And even when I checked in the next day or whatever, he was like, no, I'm fine. It happened and then it's done. Like there was no, you could feel there was like no emotional commitment to it, right? And then, so for me yesterday in the morning, I had the same thing that he had. I had one of those waves. I'll call it an energy surge because I think that that's probably the best way to describe it. Now, I know, you know, these surges started happening for me back in 2010. That's when they really kind of first became like really physically in my body. And so, you know, and it's interesting because they've changed. The intensity has changed over the years. The power has changed. The way it's delivered has changed. And I haven't had any of them for a really, really long time. And I know that it's hard to describe this because I know I've had conversations with some of you guys about that get them as well. And it's hard to describe it, right? Because what does it feel like? It feels like a brain zap. It feels like a wave coming through. It feels, it's not an adrenaline rush. So it's not like an adrenaline surge, but that does seem to come after because, of course, you have this like strange neurological sensation and your nervous system kicks into fight or flight, right? Because it's like, well, what the hell was that? Like, you know, but I wanted to talk to you guys about it because I know for me, when these were happening to me originally, they scared the shit out of me, and nobody understood what it was or why it was happening. And I, you know, I went to all the doctors, I went to the neurologist, I had all the tests, like everything. And then I started seeing all the healers, went to all the healers, went to all the psychics, went to all the mediums, nobody had I got like a few theories on it, but nobody had like, this is what it is. Yeah, I had some interesting theories on it for sure. But you know, when somebody is, if you've ever gone to a healer before or a psychic or a medium, you know, when they're talking to you and they're giving you information, and it's like a bit of a reach sometimes, like you could be like, okay, yeah, that could be it. But then there are times, you know, when they're genuinely bringing in information, not just from them, but bringing it in and it's accurate. And you're like, okay, yeah, that's what it is. Nobody was able to do that for me. Nobody, not even the best of them. They could not do that. So I've had to figure this stuff out on my own. And I want to share this with you guys because I know that sometimes we have these experiences, you know, as light workers, as empaths, as enlightened beings, as people that are consciously awake, spiritually aware, you know, all of this. sometimes we have these experiences that don't make any sense and that are scary and hard to navigate, and our human mind, tries to make sense of it and can't. And I feel like the more that we kind of like have fear around that stuff, it slows down our evolutions, right? So the more we kind of talk about it and engage with others about it, then I think that it kind of takes off the stigma of it being weird or bad or dangerous, right? And the key to it all, if anything I've learned through all of this stuff, the key to all of the stuff we're doing with our ascension, the key that will help us the most is having our nervous system be regulated, having our, feeling calm, feeling peaceful, feeling relaxed. All of that stuff helps us tremendously in these human vehicles, right? Because we could be the most enlightened being, and have all of the, transcendent experiences and blah, 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 blah. But if our human vehicle is not in good condition, or not in a manageable, like homeostasis, like balanced state, then none of that other stuff is going to matter, because you can't have an ascension experience where you're growing and learning through things when anything is out of balance, right? We have to kind of do it all. So for me, yesterday, I told you guys it'd be a bit of a ramble. Hopefully you're hanging on. Yesterday was in the morning, and I was literally just finishing my meditation, doing all my stuff, was feeling great. And then all of a sudden the energy surge came through, and it literally felt like this time, like somebody had picked up my head and like lifted up my whole body. And I literally like jolted out of my chair. And it's interesting because there's no pain when this happens. Like there's no like sharp stabbing pain or blah, blah, blah. There's no pain. It's like a lightness. It's almost like your soul pops out of your body. There's that, like, if you've ever felt that sensation, there's that lightness. And yesterday it felt really interesting because it was like very strong energy, but light energy. Does that make sense? Like, I know that it probably sounds crazy and sounds a little woo-woo and a little out there, but it's literally, to me, it felt like something was pulling me, or I was going up, or I was rising up. And my physical body literally like jolted out of my chair when I was sitting. And so it lasted like seconds, like it was like nanoseconds. It was not very long at all. And then afterwards, I felt okay. And normally if I would get a big surge like that, I would feel a little bit off for a while, but I felt okay after. And I thought, okay, so this is good. This is like maybe all this work that I've been doing, all the healing that I've been doing. So now maybe when these, surges are coming through, I'm like able to handle them better. And so I was feeling pretty good about that. And then my day kind of continued, and I could feel like the cranial nerve stuff coming up. And then it's like the pre-migraine stuff for me came up. And then I felt like the migraine was coming in. And then later in the end of the afternoon, I had another wave that came through, and this wave was different. This wave felt like more like the vertigo wave, where like it's like all of a sudden things feel a little bit off, and then all of a sudden this wave comes through, and you're like, for me, my immediate reaction all the time, and I don't know why I do this, but it's like, no, stop. So because I have that reaction to it, and it honestly makes me feel like it is something that's coming in, and it's not a stroke, and it's not a seizure, and it's not, but it's some kind of energy plasma wave, that's coming through. And those waves do not feel good to me. And they scare me. They still do. Like, they don't feel light. They feel heavy. They feel like something's coming in trying to kind of slow down. It's like and I used to explain it because when they were really strong in the beginning, it would feel like time was stopping or time was slowing down, like physically. It was like a bubble would be wrapped around me, and all of a sudden I would feel like time was slowing down. And it freaks you out. You know, it's like, it's, you know, I'm not drinking, I'm not on any drugs, I'm not on any medications. So it's not, you know, self-induced, but it's like this energy that comes through. And then it just leaves me feeling off. So again, it only lasts for a couple of seconds. I normally try to, like, I have this like sense of like, I need to run from it or I need to get away from it. There's like that comes through. So again, it makes me to feel like it's not a good thing. Like, it's not from the angels, it's not from my guides, it's not from God. It's something different for sure. And then after, it always kind of leaves me feeling like a bit out of it. And then it also makes me feel like I will start to go into like, what the fuck was that? And why is that happening? And, you know, if I'm divinely guided and protected, why is that still happening? Who let that through? Right? Like, I go through that. And so I tried my best last night after that happened to be kinder and gentler to myself about it. So not blaming me, not being like, what's wrong with my body? Why did that happen? Why am I? So I really tried to do that so that I know that I'm not to blame for it. But there's that, your ego pain body kicks in there and goes like, what the fuck's wrong with my body? What's wrong with my head? What's wrong with my nervous system? What's wrong with my blah, 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 right? And so I tried my best to not do that last night, to just kind of be gentler to myself, to kinder to myself. And I'll tell you this, I don't ever pretend to have all the answers for everything, because anybody out there that does, you know, feel like they're kind of full of shit. So even if I ask my divine guidance team, like, what is that? Why did that happen? I usually get nothing. Like, I'm not kidding you. I don't get anything. And I don't know if that's because when that happens, my vibration drops so low and I go into a place of fear that it's hard for me to hear them when I'm in that state. But it's also hard for me to get out of that state when I'm feeling like that vulnerableness, right? Like something tried to take me out. When I'm feeling that, it's hard to get out of that. It takes a little bit. It's not instantaneous. It doesn't happen and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, that was just a blip and it's over. I ruminate on things. It's not a good thing. Being a ruminator is not a good thing. But I'm trying to grow through this. And so I'm sharing this with you because maybe you're going to resonate with something in it. Maybe you're going to feel it. Again, I feel like everything's happening to us now because we're supposed to, grow through it. We're supposed to, ascend through it. We're supposed to like lighten up through it. And part of that is like, I feel like there is like this heaviness that we take on, especially empaths, this heaviness that we take on. It's like this planetary energy that we take on that we then, through the experiences, the human experience, we release. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, I'm just trying to, they're showing me, it's like this, like the planet itself carries all of these very dense, low frequencies, right? Very slow moving, dense frequencies. And maybe that's part of the, the reason why when I say it feels like time slowing down or time stopping when those waves come through, maybe it's like a dump of energy that we kind of get, like this energy that comes into us. And then it's our job then to lighten up that energy, change that the frequency of that energy, and release it. So then it comes out and then it becomes light energy. Does that make sense? Kind of like cycling, like we're the recycler, right? Like it comes into us and then we do the processing of it through experience, through the emotions we have, through the thoughts we have, through the experiences we have, and then it goes back out into the planet and then it changes the frequency of the planet. Does that make sense? Now that would make sense because of what's happening right now, right? So much is happening. And it feels heavy and dark to me right now. Like, it feels heavy and dark right now. And I know that every single experience that I'm having is kind of has that little tinge to it. Like, I'm still doing all the stuff with my mom, helping her, doing all of this stuff, navigating through the system for her. And everything has like that dark tinge. Like, even the people that I'm talking to, the other humans that I'm talking to, they're all a bit off. Like, they're all, a bit kind of stuck. That energy's kind of stuck. So I know that it can sometimes feel like we're just on this by ourselves, that we're having these experiences on our own, but we're not. It's collective energy. Everything's connected. We're all essentially, having the same massive experience, right? There's just little different pages of it. But I wanted to pop on and I wanted to share with you guys just about the ascension symptoms, or this strange stuff that you might be experiencing right now. And so if you're feeling that, I think the key in it is to show ourselves more kindness. And let me know in the comments for you, because it's good to have validation, right? Let me know if when you're feeling like off or weird or strange or having, the surge, and let me know please if you get the surges, or let us know if you get the waves, if you've had them, because we need validation that we're not losing our minds and that we're not dying and we're not, right? Let us know, because as we share with each other and we're like honest with about it, it lightens it. It helps us to lighten it, because if somebody shares about it and that they're okay and they're still functioning, or they're even better after it, then when we go through it, we'll be like, okay, I get it. It's kind of like watching somebody go on, on the roller coaster, and then knowing that they go through it and they scream and they're crying, but at the end they're still alive. They're able to walk off the roller coaster. So it's kind of like that thing. So please share your experience. I'm sharing my experiences so that we can kind of lighten this a little bit and not make it so terrifying. Sending you guys huge blessings.